Hi YouTube, my name's Leora and welcome back to my booktube channel, Books with Leo. I'm pre-filming quite a lot of videos, so I've got no clue how this booktube channel is actually going, so I'll see when I upload. I hope there's actually people watching. Today I thought it would be super fun to do one of those if you like this book, you'll definitely like this book videos. So it's basically a video where I recommend you guys books based on other books. So for example, if you know you really enjoyed this one particular book, I'll recommend you a book based on that book. So today I've put together I think 4 sets of books. I've got them in front of me but I can't count them right now. Obviously it also works the other way around. If you really hated that book, the chances are you will definitely hate that other book as well. I think that's a pretty solid formula. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first set of books I'm going to be talking about you will all recognize probably, because that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, the original one. I have this gorgeous edition that was illustrated by Brian Selznick and I love this edition so much. I think you all probably know what Harry Potter's about, but I'll explain it very briefly. It's about a boy and on his 11th birthday, on his 11th birthday, he finds out that he's a wizard and he gets sent off to wizarding school, and there he goes through all these amazing adventures with his 2 best friends, Hermione and Ron. It's just super magical and whimsical and it probably shaped all of our childhoods. One of the things that I enjoyed most about Harry Potter is the banter between all of the characters, and I also really love the jokes, the way they hang around at Hogwarts, their close friendship. That's one of my favourite things and I think it makes the book much more magical and whimsical, and J.K. Rowling just has amazing humour if you ask me. So if you liked Harry Potter you'll definitely like Nevermore. So Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend is a middle grade fantasy novel, and it gave me the exact same feels I felt when I was reading Harry Potter, so that was just a win-win for everybody. Nevermore has amazing world building and is so magical and whimsical, it just blew me away. I think the thing I just talked about with J.K. Rowling, the humour and the banter, is something that's definitely in this book as well, because all the characters are so lovable and they connect and intertwine together so well, and they also have that really nice personal character development that really makes you feel like you are friends with the characters you're reading about. So this book is about Morgan Crow, who's getting closer to her 11th birthday, and she's been cursed her entire life and she's destined to die on her 11th birthday. But then when the clock strikes 12, this really weird and mysterious man called Jupiter North comes and he just takes her away. He basically kidnaps her, and together they're off to a different world called Nevermore, a magical city, and there she's destined to join the Wondrous Society, but she has to fulfill some tests to get into it. So the Wondrous Society is also some sort of magical school where she can learn things, and yeah, this book is just so cool. Definitely check it out. Then the next book I'm talking about is Six of Crows. This wouldn't be a video of mine if I hadn't mentioned Six of Crows at least once. I have the perfect recommendation for if you enjoy Six of Crows, but first let me tell you about this book for a bit if you don't know it yet. So Six of Crows is a book about 6 outcasts who are going on a heist, and I think that's probably all you should know. It's high fantasy. And these characters again have that amazing banter and great connections all together. They also fall in love with each other sometimes, and it's great. You should check it out. It's such a fun, amazing, thrilling fantasy read. So the book that I have to recommend I don't have here with me because I listened to it on audiobook, but that book is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. Now Ace of Shades, I don't know what exactly in the book reminds me so much of Six of Crows, because there's not something that I can pinpoint to and say, oh, it's definitely this. So that's a bit weird, but it really has the same feel to it. I've said that now like 3 times. Ace of Shades is about Anne Salter, who has had a very ladylike upbringing. When her mother goes missing, she has to travel to the City of Sin to find her mother again, and the City of Sin, as the name implies, is not that ladylike as her upbringing was. So Anne is this very chic lady and she comes into the City of Sin and she's looking for Levi, what was his name again? And Anne has to go looking for Levi Glacier, which is the only thing she got from her mother, the only thing she knows about how to find her mother. And Levi turns out to be the chief of a mafia gang, so Anne's not really used to that. I think maybe because this book is also about a gang and about street gangs and like the olden times, it feels a bit historical as well, because they're both high fantasies, I think. The thing I really loved about Ace of Shades is that The magic system is so unique. I've never read anything like it. Each character in this book has 2 talents based on their family name, and these talents can be anything. They can be super magical, but they can also be like counting or dancing or acrobatics. So I think that's just a really cool and unique system to have. Next to that, the audiobook was absolutely amazing. I'm not such an audiobook person normally because often I get annoyed when people are trying to do voices, like when the narrator's like, I don't like that, but this narrator did such a good job. If you like Six of Crows, you'll definitely like Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. Then next up, I have a nice contemporary recommendation for you all, and that is, if you liked The Exact Opposite of Okay by Laura Stephen, you'll definitely like Moxie by Jennifer Macho. So both of these books are contemporary feminist books, and they're both YA, I think, and they both have amazing humor as well, although I must say that The Exact Opposite of Okay is one of the funniest things I've ever read, so I definitely recommend this. This already says on the cover, Izzy O'Neill, impoverished orphan, aspiring comedian, slot extraordinaire, apparently. That's already so great. But this book is about Izzy O'Neill, and her naked pictures get leaked after a wild night she had where she slept with 2 different guys. And then an entire army of trolls online decides to bully her, and it really shows her that girls are treated so differently in our world than men are, and so she sets out to make a difference. And in the sequel of this book, it gets a little bit more political. It gets really similar to Moxie, and I'll talk about Moxie in a minute. I think it's really cool the way that Laura Stephen handles such an important subject with so much humor. Like, I think I cried laughing when I was reading this book. If you like that book, you'll definitely also like Moxie. Moxie is about Vivian, and Vivian is so annoyed with the clothing school rules they have at her school. She's like, what's going on? So she's super fed up with the sexist stuff going on in her town, and she decides to start a feminist zine, which is basically like an activist magazine, and she spreads it around her school, and first she does it anonymously, but then, you know, all of this stuff happens. And this is just a really cool high school book about feminism, friendship, and love. And it's just, I had a lot of fun reading it. So if you like The Exact Opposite of Okay, or if you liked Moxie, you'll definitely like the other book as well. Now, I've come to the last 2 books on my list already. I decided to keep it a bit short because I know I talk a lot, so I didn't want this video to be like 20 minutes. And the next book I want to talk about is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. And if you liked A Study in Charlotte, you'll definitely like A Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. I have the Dutch book here with me, but there's an English book as well. So first, A Study in Charlotte is a YA crime novel, or I think maybe it's more of a mystery novel. And for all you Sherlock lovers out there, this is definitely the book for you. It's basically a modern twist on Sherlock Holmes, but then Sherlock is female, and Charlotte is just, she's such a Sherlock, to be honest. This book sort of plays on if the Sherlock and Watson families were actually real living families and they have descendants nowadays. And so in this story we follow their 2 descendants, Jamie Watson and Charlotte Holmes. This book, I just loved the characters within 3 seconds of starting it, and the mystery is also amazing. It's obviously based on A Study in Pink, the first Sherlock Holmes book. I must say there's a bit of a trigger warning for rape, but it handles it so delicately and so beautifully and with so much respect. This is definitely a book you should check out. And if you like this book, like I said, you'll definitely like A Cuckoo's Calling. Now, Robert Galbraith is actually J.K. Rowling, but I didn't know that when I started reading these books, so that's kind of funny. Some of you might know that J.K. Rowling wrote her own crime novel series. The first book is A Cuckoo's Calling. The second one is called Silkworm, I think, and the third one is called Path of Evil, or Career of Evil, or something evil. I'm reading it at the moment, but I don't remember what it's called. So this book is about a top model who falls from her balcony and dies, and the police say it's a suicide, but a lot of people actually think it's murder. And then Detective Cormoran Strike comes in, and he's definitely ready to solve this stuff. And I'm not sure how it goes in this book, but he also gets his amazing assistant Robin, who's just the best person I've ever read about, and these 2, they just form an amazing duo. And just like in A Study in Charlotte, this book is a crime-solving book about a duo solving crimes. Definitely a mystery you should check out if you liked A Study in Charlotte, and if you liked A Cuckoo's Calling, you should also definitely check out A Study in Charlotte. That's how this works, we all know. So, those were all the books I wanted to talk about today. I hope I gave you guys some great new recommendations, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to put a thumbs up to subscribe, and tell me in the comments down below if you enjoyed the video, if you've read any of these books, what did you think about them, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!